Good morning, Humanityville. It is Teresa Marie, Ambassador of Chi, with you again, and you are experiencing the first time that I am on my Office app, my Buzzsprout app, which is where I drop my podcasts, and I'm using Audacity for those of you that want to venture out and tell your story. And so Audacity is on my laptop, and here's my microphone set up. And the Spirit said video. So here I am. I don't know if it's going to work, but I will drop this podcast on my YouTube Free to Just Be channel as well. So off we go. And if this is your first time to Free to Just Be, this is a podcast I've been doing for a little over 3 years, and it has been a documentation of my transformation dance as we ascend and awaken on the planet during the greatest shift that humanity has ever experienced. And I share all of my Earth School lessons, and I tell on myself a lot. I have been told numerous times that this show provides a place for people to hear things that they want to say, but they would never say. And I often hear, I can't believe you said that, but man, I'm glad you did. And just for way of background today, I just want to share that, way back in the late 80s, I began my relationship with Yeshua when I was 24. And about 3 years into that, I think that was about the time. I could look back on a journal page for the exact time, but somewhere in that neighborhood, I had a dream and then a vision of I was told to do a reality show, and this was prior to reality shows. And what I was supposed to do was I was supposed to videotape my journey with God and show the world that you can, and this is how I heard it, be the F up and show people that you're still walking with God and God still loves you and you still love God. And of course, in my early years of walking with Jesus, look, folks, even after you recognize your need for Him, for the Son of God, look, we are perfectly imperfect here on this planet. And we fall every single day. And we are programmed to believe that somehow we're going to lose that relationship or whatever, right? And so back then, I was abusing drugs still. I was a mess. And I was just like, no way. No, I'm not going to get on camera and show the world that I'm a mess up, Plus I had no self-esteem, all of that. So it was like, there was no way. So I lived in resistance to that calling on my life. And God uses everything and everybody. If we allow it, we have to be willing to surrender to this spark of God that we are and allow God to guide us, right? So it's really hilarious to think that 40 years later, here I am telling on myself almost on the daily on a podcast called Free to Just Be, and now He's calling me to be on camera more and more. So see, resistance is futile. You might as well just surrender to the call on your life, because honestly, helping humanity and dropping little crumbs of truth that have occurred in my own life. Because look, humanity, we all are going through these struggles. We all are missing our connection with each other and with the sense of community. We're all witnessing the tumultuousness on the planet, and we all have different ways of experiencing that. And so that's why I always encourage people, at least monthly. Look, man, if a 65-year-old former hippie freak of the South can share her transformation into embodying her true self my real name, which is Teresa Marie, and I am an ambassador of Chi, soon to be traveling, then anybody can do it. And I am not going to be the vibe or the flavor of everyone. I mean, it might be a rare man that listens to me, for example, right? And that's not to say that I wouldn't welcome a man to listen to my podcast or to be blessed by the things I say. But everybody has their people, the ones that feel most aligned to what you would be saying, right? And my tribe is just developing, and I'm very excited to, there's no fear here any longer. And it's taken almost 4 years now behind the mic. I know I have a voice. I know my gifts lie in communication and storytelling. And I want to encourage you. We all have teachers and mentors. You can be a teacher or a mentor for somebody as well. So I invite you to continue to watch my mission unfold, because God's asking me to do some things that I'm just like, what? And the energy is such a force right now. As maybe you don't recall, we are in the fire horse year, and that energy is very prevalent, and it's like the wind is at your back and we're being pushed forward whether we want to go or not. And that's a good thing. And right now, anybody waking up, like, for example, it's been 20 years. I have been on this, this is driving me nuts. I have been on the awakening transformation train or dance for well over 2 decades now. And I have let go of many, many programs and systems and beliefs and false evidence appearing real, stepped away from a lot of fears. And then I go back and I do the 1, 2, 3 shuffle, right? And I completely lost my train of thought. Oh well. So anyway, that's kind of the background of how Free to Just Be came to be. And if any of you have been with me since the first podcast, you can, and it's kind of cool because I have listened to maybe, I don't know, I'm getting close to the 400 mark of episodes. And for the first couple of years, I literally, I just would walk out in the woods, and it was kind of like I'd get a download. I just knew what I was supposed to say. And then I'd come in, get behind the mic, say it, and just surrender it, just let it go, not even listen to it. And so now I've listened to maybe 12 or 20 of them, and it's so funny to go back because I literally have a vocal documentation of my transformation. I mean, oh my gosh, the first dozen, and I didn't even listen to all of them, just the first couple, I'm like militant, and you can sense that almost anger, and I'm going to get my message out, and I was like this, and I am so much more peaceful and honest and genuine, and that is the beauty of walking the path to be free to just be, because the more authentic you become, the more you step into the genuineness of who you are, the happier and more at peace you become. And it's a beautiful dance, and that is what I want to talk to you today about, a dance step. And I'm gonna give you some word pictures, and I've got my journal open because I actually dropped this podcast one day last week, and this was when I was in this period, literally, and I was so frustrated because it turned into a 45-minute episode, and my laptop didn't pick up anything but 2 minutes of it, and I walked away so frustrated. And it's laughable to me that the enemy of your soul will do anything for you to not give out messages that might light somebody else up, right? And so here I am again, and I'm going to drop it today. And so that's why you might see me glancing down at my journal. Or I generally don't prepare, but sometimes I use my journal entries, or sometimes I write my quotes down, right? I'm a quote girl. So let's kick right into it, and I'm going to open with a word picture for you. So actually, let's go to the definition first. So let me put my glasses on, and let me share with you the last video I dropped on my YouTube station. I've had a YouTube channel for a couple of years, and I was chicken shit. I was chicken. I didn't want to be out there, and I really, anybody that is going to critique my skin or how I look or how I talk, have at it. I no longer care about the opinions of others. All I care about is helping and serving humanity, and I will reach the audience that is vibing with that. So anyway, here I've lost my train of thought again. and that's part of being free to just be. So I'm going to open with the definition. The dance step I want to talk about today on this dance of transformation while going through is the limbo. And what is the definition of limbo? It is an uncertain period of waiting. It's that intermediate state. And it's also a dance where people bend backwards to pass under a very low bar. Okay? So that's what the limbo is defined as. Now, I want to, if you're not driving and you have a few minutes to visualize something with me, then take a deep breath and close your eyes and just picture this, okay? So this is how my literal journey of transformation began. And it began where there was this nagging sense. Now just close your eyes and think about this. I just felt like I was in somebody else's set of clothes. Picture that. Here you are. You know who you are, but you have somebody else's clothes on. That's how it started for me. And every night I would go to bed and I'd be laying there, and now picture that. Picture laying in your bed and you're staring up at your ceiling. And when I would do that, I would think about all the ways that life would be if, what if, and so I was dreaming with my eyes open, and then I would have dreams. Some of the dreams came in that were from my past. I have definitely served people in my past lifetimes, and what Henry Emil Frederick said in this quote is going to give you the epitome of what I'm talking about. So that's how it started for me. And I would have these fantasies. I would think about what life would be like if I could choose what it would look like, not realizing yet that I could, right? And so Henry said this: dreams are excursions or little mini trips into the limbo of things, a semi-deliverance from the human prison. And that literally is what we begin to do. We begin to recognize, oh wow, I'm like in this place I don't want to be. We don't recognize it's a prison yet, but it is. You've heard of Prison Planet and this type of thing, and people call that stuff conspiracy theories, but that literally is, we have allowed systems and programs of what I have always called, I've coined the phrase, matrix merry-go-round, because we go round and round and we do the same thing over and over, wondering why we feel freaking insane, because it's insane, because we're beginning to wake up and recognize that what we've been doing over and over like rote habits, think Truman Show, right? You begin to wake up and recognize, what is this? I don't want to be here. So that's the first limbo. You're well in, you're fully hooked in to the matrix merry-go-round, buckled in, you got your helmet on, and you are fully strapped in, because that's what they do. They suck you in and try to bind you to their systems and programs, and pretty much we all are, right? Then the next limbo happens. So that's the first limbo. We're between fully hooked into the matrix merry-go-round, and we're beginning to maybe think outside that amusement park ride, okay? Because that's what they do. They try to make you think it's amusing and it's fun and it's glittery and it's everything you ever wanted, right? That's why we're stuck in it, because we have been convinced that it's the best ride ever, right? So then it comes to Albert Einstein's quote about the limbo. He said that your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. Because you see, God loves us so much, and He knows. And you know, you have just fallen asleep, have been lulled by the merry-go-round going round and round, just like a child rocked to sleep. But all of us have the same spark of God deep inside us, beneath all these veils and systems and programs, and nobody's coming to rescue us. We have to do the inside work of going inside, recognizing, acknowledging, and this is the tough part. This is when we all of a sudden, now our imagination is the preview, right? So now we're like visioning in a life free, and our frustration level starts to rise. Much of the planet is there right now, those that haven't already jumped off the merry-go-round, and they are saying, I don't like this, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like being in this dark place. And this is often the time where all of the systems and programs kind of begin to feel like this huge burden. All right, so now if you're still with me with your eyes closed, I probably should have told you you can open them. But now picture this sack on your back, and every false belief, all the childhood trauma, everything. Because see, we come in as this pure spark of light, salty as all get out. That's what we are. We are the light of the world and the salt of the earth. That's the spark that's underneath everything, right? And so our job, and this is what the Word of God calls the working out of our salvation. And it may be the first time you're hearing it this way, but I do believe that that is our job. We have to awaken ourselves and remember who we are. We're God's kids. And Jesus, when He walked the planet, did all these miracles and had all this power. And by the way, it just kind of cracks me up. This big controversy over Trump, and everybody said, oh, he's trying to act like Jesus. And he was showing power coming from your hands. And if you know anything about quantum science, one hand, and I'm just going to leave you the crumbs so you can resurrect Inquisition yourself, but that literally is the energetic way of showing the power that Jesus used. That power for healing came from His hands, and one hand is a receiver and one hand is where we project the power out. And it just cracks me up because Trump aligned with that. He said, no, I was just trying to depict myself as a physician, as somebody who is helping people, healing people, so to speak. And Jesus Himself told us that we have that same power and that we were going to do more. It's just kind of comical to me that people don't get things yet. And anyway, so here we are now, and the burdens of the matrix are starting to get heavier and heavier and heavier, and the frustration is building, and we don't like maybe the people we're around, maybe we're in these relationships that were never, the word calls them unequally yoked, and that means really energetically, most specifically, where you are not in alignment in any way, shape, or form with this person that you are in a deep relationship with, and maybe there are family members or whatever. So there's the relational side, and then there's the JOB side, the just over broke, the thing that you were told you were supposed to do. Most people call it the grind, and all of a sudden that grind is really grinding on your spirit and on your energy, and you feel more and more empty, and you're wondering, is this it? That's a key question to the awakening process. That question of, is this all there is? And then that's coupled with, I was made for more. And that's another limbo. So you got this weight on your back, and it's bowing you down. So now picture you're in an amusement park, or better yet, you're heading to a club to go dancing, right? And you've got all this weight on you, and you're bowed down, you're down, and it's like your whole body starts to go like this. And this is what it begins to feel like in our physical body right before we really start the awakening process. The weight of the matrix, of all the systems, all the false beliefs, all the programs that we allowed, that we picked up, that we, entered into that herd mentality and started believing what everybody in the collective, because, after all, we are just Pavlov's dogs. We follow. And, I want you to stop and think about the fact that you actually have to be a follower before you lead. So don't beat yourself up for being in the herd. We've all been in the herd. And to huge extents, we all still are. It's going to take a long time for us to completely turn away and, the herd's going this way. Think about it. Hundreds and thousands are going this way, and you're like, and you feel like the odd duck out. Oh yeah. And this is why a lot of people choose to continue to stay with the herd, even if the herd is going to run off the cliff, because it's easier. It's the wide road that the Word of God talks about. And narrow is the path to true peace, okay? So now we have this sack on our back, and we're bowed down like this. And this is the limbo between allowing, we don't even allow it. It's kind of like the pressure. Because as you start asking questions like, is this it? Surely I'm meant for more. Then over and over and over again, you start seeing the things in your own being that are out of whack. This is God's yellow and red light warnings, So I'll give you an example of that. I'll go back to the driving, okay? So you get in the car and you're heading to work, but you have all this stuff that you haven't dealt with. Emotional things, maybe thought patterns that continue to float in your head, right? And you're driving to work and everything's great, and somebody cuts you off. And you go into this rage. I mean, sometimes, whatever it is, I'm just using this as an example, but whatever hits you, people nowadays call it a trigger. Okay, and so something comes into your field, and we'll talk about the field more in further episodes. I have lots about the field in past episodes, but anyway, something comes in and you have this, it's completely over the top reaction. It's way out of balance. It's like an over exaggeration. The person that cut you off, you don't know the person. They're not hearing you scream curses. They don't see the veins popping out of your neck. I mean, there's no connection at all. And you're enraged. And then finally, a couple of miles down the road, you calm down. These are key points. This is the Spirit of God saying, hello, something's not right in Denmark here. And this is something you need to look at. And at first, we don't. We don't look because we've been trained by our matrix programs to not look. We don't feel. We don't change. We don't observe. We definitely don't dissect anything. We just go with the flow. We go with the herd, right? But something inside you starts saying, what was that about? When those moments happen, question yourself. Why did I get so angry at that person that I don't even know? Because there's something inside of you that the Spirit of God wants you to look at. So that's the limbo. And those episodes begin to pile up. So now the bow down, you got false beliefs, and they start the second you come in pure. That's what I was saying earlier. You come in as a pure spark of God, completely unadulterated, right? And little by little, the very first time your needs were denied, because we came from a place of bliss. We came from the perfection of heaven. We came from God himself, right? So there was no suffering. We were in complete bliss. Everything was perfect. And then suddenly you feel hunger and you're crying as a baby. You've entered into the 3D system of duality and plurality, right? And so it begins. The traumas and everything starts building, and this is why you begin slowly by, inch by inch, you bow down. But now you're beginning to wake up, and it just feels like that pressure, because now you're seeing it everywhere. And first you see it in others. Why is that person doing this? I mean, that's stupid. And really what that is a mirror, and you're looking, that person is showing you what you need to deal with, right? And it becomes overwhelming because it's unrelentless. And it's like God is like, okay, well, maybe you need some more signs here. So he continues to give the signs because he loves us that much. He does not want to leave us the way we have become. He wants us to go to our highest good. And these are when the first dark nights of the soul come. And this is the first time we really enter the limbo. And finally, we are so bowed down, the weight of everything that we know is not truly us flattens us. And we're on the ground. Generally on our face, in the fetal position, wanting, stop the world, I want to get off. You know those moments, okay? And when those moments start to stack upon one another, we end up on our face, and that is the time we slowly roll ourselves over and we recognize the limbo. Well, this is hindsight for me. I certainly didn't know that I was in my first set of limbo dance steps 20 years ago, but that's literally what occurred in my life. And when I turned myself over, it was as if the Spirit of God showed me that I was living in the basement. I was, now picture the dance club. We're going back to the dance club now. And you enter, one of those clubs. I was never a club person, but I remember I had some people that were from a different country that had never been to the States. And we were in Nashville for an event, and I took them to some of the clubs down there, the honky tonks, and some of them are 3-level, and you can go to different dance places, right? So now we're entering one, and there's this bar, and people are shimmying, and they're backing up like this to get under this bar. And each time they get under, the bar gets lower. Welcome to the Matrix. The Matrix, we feel like the weight is bowing us down, right? And it is. But at the same time, our vibrations, our energetic signature, they are trying to press down further and further and further because they want us down at their level. And their level is at the lowest possible limbo bar level, right? That's where the Matrix wants to take us. And that would be the first time we dance the limbo. And now we're on our backs, completely wrecked, and we're looking up and we recognize, holy shit, I have allowed myself to literally be energetically raped. I have allowed my pure energy and light, the light of the world, to be siphoned, to be sucked dry. And that's when you suddenly say to yourself, oh, I remember that day. I was in my car and I literally, out to the universe, screamed, I'm not gonna take it anymore. And we rise. And we're gonna fall many, many times on this journey. But I wanted to introduce you to the limbo. And the reason I wanted to introduce you to it is because I've just come out of yet another limbo. But that is further down the limbo story pike. So we're going to save that for another day. So I hope that this worked. I'm going to literally drop 2 podcasts now because I'm going to drop my audio version into the Buzzsprout app, and it'll get released all over Spotify and iHeart and, Amazon Prime. Everywhere that you hear podcasts, you'll find me. But now, those of you that are brave enough to see the former hippie freak of the South, who has now begun to embody who she is, because I am an ambassador of Chi. And I'm getting ready real soon. I want to remind you, those of you that are within a 50-mile radius of me in Middle Tennessee, you can look on my Facebook page, find me under Teresa Marie Wilson, Ambassador of Chi, and just know that I am within the next 3 or 4 weeks, I am going to be moving away from my personal Facebook page, and I'm going to only use my Free to Just Be page. So I have 2 pages on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram under Free to Just Be or Ambassador of Chi. And you can, of course, find me now on my YouTube channel, Free to Just Be, as well. And if you live close to me, I'm getting ready to do a free, absolutely free, Mother's Day event for all the mamas. And I will drop another episode as to why I feel like this truly, I have narrowed down exactly where I am headed. And we'll talk about that the next episode. But be watching Humanityville, because this Ambassador of Chi is about to travel into so many new areas, and it is exciting and daunting, and I am lit up like a Christmas tree on the inside, and maybe you can detect it on the outside. I'm not the same person I was who started this podcast years ago, and I hope I brought value into your life today, and I hope you'll consider sharing your story, however it is. Maybe it's through art or dance or whatever craft, whatever talent that you love. Another aspect of my walk is that food forest that we're building. So on that note, let's close out for today. I hope you have a spectacular, spiritual, and sunshine-filled Sunday. And as always, I am praying right now, God, just bring into every human being listening to my voice your greatest health, their most vibrant energy, and God, as they wake up to the spark of God and the salt of the earth that they are, that they would find your unspeakable peace that passes all understanding. Much love, humanity. Much love. And on that note, let's close everything out. Peace.